Alright, this is the highly requested glitchless category rant. Now those of you who watch a lot of my runs or are in my stream often know really well what my take on all this is, because it's kind of a controversial point of view on the topic. Those of you who aren't as familiar with the glitchless speedrunning community and the nuances of it from game to game, it's kind of messy. Each community has its own method of determining not only what is and is not a glitch, but how much of a glitch is, and what makes something done in a speedrun a glitch. It's a very controversial topic, obviously, because everyone has a different opinion. Now, before we get into this, I do need to differentiate terminology for everyone. Glitchless versus bug limit versus no major glitches versus restricted. Because the chances are, if you have glanced at a speedrun leaderboard recently, you have come across one or two of these terms. Glitchless is when the community defines what is a glitch, and everything else is allowed. This is typically a very subjective speedrun because of the term exploit, which was integrated a few years ago, where even though it is technically as much of a glitch, in my opinion, as anything else, they'll find one aspect of the glitch or another, it's always something different, that they will use to determine that it's not as much of a glitch as these other glitches, or it doesn't break the game in the same way as these break the game, or it doesn't have the same effect on the code as these have effect on the code, or whatever it is. And so they'll allow it in the speedrun. An example of a community that has glitchless speedruns is The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Several of their main categories have glitchless variations to it, where they have defined what they think the characteristics of a glitch are, and they ban everything else that has those characteristics. Now, bug limit is a little different. The community basically determines what glitches it does and does not want in the category. Again, very heavy emphasis on the word want in the category. The ones that they do want, they leave in, and the ones that they don't want, they ban. This is another very subjective speedrun category because it is literally a small group of people making a list of the glitches that they like and are willing to let slide, and others that they don't like and are not willing to slide, and they're structuring a category based on that for years of other runners to be subjected to. An example of a community that has bug limit speedruns is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, where if you look at the glitches that are and are not allowed from a technical standpoint, it seems like they just picked the glitches that those specific runners enjoy and banned the ones that they didn't enjoy. I know, because there are glitches that aren't allowed in that category that aren't as technical or game breaking as the ones that are allowed, but it is harder to do, so they banned it. Again, nothing to do with the actual glitch technical related stuff. It's just making a category with the glitches that suit your fancy. No major glitches is a category where, in a somewhat more objective way, they draw a line in the sand with the glitches in terms of how they break the game or whether or not they utilize a specific tech, and ban everything that goes above that line or meets that specific criteria. It's a somewhat more technical approach than bug limit, but the line in the sand that they draw is still somewhat subjective. A good example of no major glitches, in my opinion, is Hollow Knight. If you look at the glitches that they allow versus the ones that they ban, there is a clear line in the sand as to where they say, okay, no, this is too much of a glitch for our liking. And the line has nothing to do with the difficulty of the glitches. It has to do with how the glitch interacts with the game. And this is probably my preferred alternative to the glitch category or the glitchless categories that exist, since on average it's the most objective when applied in communities. Now, restricted categories are basically like no major glitches, but 90% of the time they are banning one specific glitch. This happens often in games where one specific glitch is discovered that some of the runners think takes away from the spirit of the run or ruins the fun of a run. So they banned that specific glitch to keep the category the way it was before that glitch was discovered. All three of the above games that I just mentioned have some version of restricted. Breath of the Wild has restricted categories that ban heart duping. Hollow Knight has no main menu storage categories. Ocarina of Time has no SRM, all to be considered restricted categories. Now that we've the different kinds of glitchless categories out there, let's look at what in all this that I don't agree with and why I don't agree with it. Some of you at this point probably have an idea as to what exactly I don't like. It has to do with how they define what a glitch is, because of how subjective the definition is. Every time something new happens or something new is discovered, a 2-week discussion starts with people cussing and threatening and tearing each other apart on whether or not something is a glitch or an exploit or a strat or tech. All words just to describe the same thing with just softer meaning, I guess. Every time these sort of discussions come up, it almost seems like the word glitch becomes a slang that offends people when you mention it. This is not a glitch. How dare you call my strat a glitch? The audacity. Trust me, I'm in 8 different Zelda speedrunning discords, 5 different Mario speedrunning discords, half a dozen other game speedrun discords, from Horizon Zero Dawn to Resident Evil to Smash Bros. This happens every single time. And there's a good reason for why it happens. The method that they are all using to determine what a glitch is different, because the method relies on specific technical aspects of the glitch or something like it. And they're all very inconsistent, not only with the current glitch arsenal, but with future potential glitches. Oftentimes they rely more on the feel of the glitch and how it feels when you're using it or how it feels doing it. It's very non-specific many times. And if it is specific, they end up having a 40-page essay, Ocarina of Time, as to why one glitch is not like the other. Disregarding the cross-eyed inducing mess that bug limit is, I feel as though if we were to find a better, more all-encompassing method of determining what is and is not a glitch that could possibly transcend games, then we would solve so many problems for so many communities. What is the perfect solution, you may ask? Honestly, I don't know. I have a potential solution to the problem. It's not perfect. It definitely still has flaws, but it's a million times better than the current system that most communities implement. This is what it is. Go off of developers' intentions. Now, before you start shouting to me about how difficult and inconsistent it is to determine developers' intentions, hear me out. Have you ever tried? What's your favorite speed game? What's your favorite glitch in that speed game? Now use the squishy thing inside of your skull and think, if the developers saw this and could eliminate it without spending $1 or a second of their budget, would they? If the answer to that question is yes, or maybe, or even there is a slight chance, then it's a glitch. It's that easy. I think we need to reevaluate how we look at what a glitch is. We need to put a much greater priority on developer intentions and supplement that priority with how the glitch affects the game. Obviously, we are still going to look at how the glitch affects the game, but the main source of inspiration for determining whether or not something is a glitch is going to be developer intention. If we do that, I feel like we will see a much more consistent rule set across the board. We will be able to actually say with confidence that our glitchless categories are actually glitchless, and we'll stop confusing the crap out of outsiders that are like, oh look, it's glitchless. I'm excited to see how they do this dungeon quick. Oh, never mind. They just used a glitch and skipped it. Let me give you a couple examples of this in the 3 games that I've been referencing this whole time. Breath of the Wild. Whistle sprinting. where you basically do a series of button inputs to be able to sprint without consuming stamina. If the developers intended for you to never run out of stamina, would they put a stamina bar in the first place? Probably not. It's a glitch. It's not an exploit, it's not a strat, it's a straight up glitch. Ocarina of Time, with their so-called glitchless jumps. Let me see if I can pull it up. Okay, here it is. So you see in this first clip, the runner uses a bomb to jump and grab the ledge of the maze so that they can then run over the maze and skip the whole thing. Now take a look at this next clip. This is a glitchless version. The runner does a setup that allows them to jump off the side and grab the ledge, effectively doing the same thing, only they aren't doing the bomb thing. Now, many of you will say, oh, but Specs, there's obviously a difference between these two things. And you're right. You are right. You are 100% correct. There is a difference between those two things. To us, there is definitely a difference to our eyes. If you are using the, oh, well, something happened in the game code that isn't in the other glitch, then you have to be consistent with that argument. I think it was Benji M. Lewis that put it best. From the game's perspective, there is no difference between a glitch and normal behavior. The only distinction is in the minds of people who look at what's happening on the screen. The game doesn't care that it looks like you shouldn't be able to store and fabricate a jump out of thin air where a jump shouldn't exist. As far as the game knows, both of those are how the game is supposed to operate. That's the way it works. That's why it works. So to say that one isn't breaking the game and the other is, or that one is breaking the game in a greater way than the other, regardless of how you try to quantify breaking the game or manipulating the game, in the game's eyes, you aren't, like, at all. That's the reason that it lets you do that. You say the glitch in question has a potential to crash the game? Yeah, well, if you've ever played a console game, ever, you'd know that games crash really often, like a lot, on every console. Now, Hollow Knight speedrunners are probably going to destroy me for this one, but I had to get to Hollow Knight eventually. Fireball skips and acid skips. Let me see if I can pull up an example of these two. Okay, yeah, here you go. As you can see with both of these, they are technically using mechanics of the game that are in the game. However, any of you who have actually played Hollow Knight will be able to see at face value that it is definitely not developer intended. Using the logic I just described, both of these would be considered glitches. Because again, it would have little to do with the inputs on your controller or how it breaks the game code, but it will have mostly to do with whether or not the developers intended for you to get past these sections with that glitch. And if you've taken steps to prevent it, it would have cost them nothing. Knowing the developers of Hollow Knight and what they have patched in the past, even Hollow Knight runners can't deny that using this logic, they would be considered glitches. Now again, I feel like I have to shield myself from all those sensitive ass shit posters online. I am not saying that they are bad, because I feel like oftentimes when I say something is a glitch, people think that I'm saying that that thing is bad. I've even had someone say to me when I'm making my argument, oh, well, if you don't like it, then don't use it. I didn't say I didn't like it. I'm not saying they're bad. I love glitches. I use glitches constantly in all the speedruns that I do. Glitches are amazing things that allow us speedrunners to reach greater heights in our goals of going fast. The specific glitches that I just described above from all three games, I've done all of them. I like all of them. I'm not saying that they are bad. I'm saying that using my logic that I believe would solve so many issues, community controversy on the topic, they would be considered glitches. Now, you can keep the categories the way that you have them. Hell, with Hollow Knight, in the no major glitches category, both acid skip and fireball skip would probably still be allowed. My fight isn't with you. My fight is with people who claim that they run a glitchless category when A, the thing that you are doing accomplishes the same as if you were to use what you consider a glitch, and B, the game itself sees no difference between the two, which is why it lets you do it. There isn't an archive in the game files with button sequences that it calls glitches. The game can't tell the difference. The only way we can distinguish them between the two is because to our human eyes, which are different from human to human, it looks a certain way. And that is where the problem comes in. Now, I warned you that this was a hot take. I expect to get a lot of heat in the comments section, but let me know what you guys think, whether you agree with me or if you disagree with me. I'm always open to learn. If you can think of a game or a situation where the current system that they are using is less flawed than mine, because again, I didn't say my system was perfect. I said that mine was the least flawed, and it will solve a lot of problems, I feel. So if you can find a situation where this isn't the case, where the current system that they are using will lead to fewer arguments than my system, please let me know. Let me know in the comments. Also, let me know what other rants you guys want me to be doing. And I'll see you next time.